Today we're reacting to the billionaire Wolf of Wall Street playboy, savage, Jordan Belfort. Let's get right into it. Alright, boys. Alright, mother truckers. Use pain to your advantage. Whiteboard Wednesday by Jordan Belfort. This is how you become a billionaire. Get all the bitches, get all the women, get all the money, get all the status, get all the fame.
And
let's watch
this
it.
This is something that is probably one of the most...
Alright, let's hear it.
Aspects of the straight line. In fact, it's something that I really, back in the day, didn't pay as much attention to as I should have when I was training the guys back in the 80s and 90s, because it wasn't really that much of this type of sale.
Okay.
We're doing very wealthy people, so it was more about a fear of missing out and greed-based. What I'm referring to here is what I like to refer to as the P word, or pain, a pain-based
P-word.
sale. And
there could be a lot of
one thing I can tell you is that over the years, as the system has evolved, one thing that I've really keyed in on and amplified in the system is the use of pain.
Yeah.
And I don't like to say that like,
use it as a motivation.
It's about resolving people's pain. And that's a really integral aspect of selling. And here's the thing, it almost sounds like it's a cliche, seriously. And it can be like, oh, I want to resolve someone's pain. And I really, because it's almost like a bit weird, like, and people dismiss it. But when I talk about resolving someone's pain with a straight line, I'm talking about freaking ninja style on steroids. Really getting in and digging out what someone's pain is, amplifying it if necessary, and then resolving.
That makes a lot of sense. So when I'm approaching clients that are future prospects that I want to generate and, create as leads that I could potentially create to clients, they have a lot of pain inside of them. Maybe they've been seduced, maybe they've been manipulated with words, and they've just got scammed with their credit card by some Indian, or they could just be getting scammed online and they lose money. There's a lot of pain in that, right? And pain can be translated into many things, just fear, uncertainty of whether or not this product is going to work. So he's very spot on with this.
The same way you put a balm on a wound to take away the pain. Now, again, I want to slow this down for you and show you here the two spots. Like, it's a two-pronged approach. I call it extraction and necessary amplification if they're in denial. In other words, when you extract, when you try to dig to someone's pain, very often you'll find out that the person's in denial. They've gone into denial. Because what happens is when something's making you feel uncomfortable for a while, your brain has this amazing power of habituating. It's called habituation. We start to become numb to our own pain. That includes not just a wound pain, it's psychological pain. Something's bothering you a lot, really getting under your skin. After a while, I accept it. It's my lot in life. And almost our beliefs start to shift to start making us think our pain isn't really pain. That's what happens. That's very dangerous, because what happens is someone ends up living just an empowered life. Rather than pain being the motivator to help them get what they want, they become numb to their pain and accept a life that's far less rich, far less empowered, and that could easily been the other way. They could have lived that empowered, rich life if someone would have come along and known how to elegantly extract that pain, get them out of denial, meaning amplify it, and then use that pain, again, elegantly, without pissing someone off. Doesn't work very well, right? Without pissing someone off,
look at his hands, guys. Look at his hands.
So let me very quickly show you the two spots here where pain really comes into play, and then show you very quickly how it interplays in the back end of the system with the action threshold, meaning that level of certainty that someone needs to be at before they say yes. Action threshold, meaning at what point am I sure enough?
The certainty is what he's saying is that you kind of need to know your place. You need to know exactly what the prospect or your potential customer sale is looking for. The psychology of the brain. I know this a lot because I do YouTube. I analyzed, what people are going to think when they click on the video, they see the title. I'm very good at this.
Enough that I'll say, yeah, let's do it. Now, again, for me, I'm an easy buy. I have a low action threshold. For a tough buy, they have a high action threshold. They have to be really sure. So watch how it plays out on the straight line. This is your open. This is your close. I draw this thing all the time, right? Your perfect sale is directly on the line. We have our healthy boundaries above and below. And the key to this whole equation is there's a syntax to the straight line, meaning what you're doing is you're laying out what would seem like a very complex, non-controllable situation or uncontrollable situation into a very controllable situation that actually moves along the line. Simplest, shortest distance between 2 points straight line. Watch. Starts with the first 4 seconds where you take control using certain tonalities, body language, keywords. And by taking control, it allows us now to make every sale the same. And that first step, once you've taken control, is you want to start gathering intelligence. You want to gather intelligence. And as you gather that intelligence, you do it in a way using a straight line technique that we teach called active listening. You do it to simultaneously build rapport. Now, gathering intelligence in most sales systems, less sophisticated ones, they're like identifying needs. And with the straight line, that's just barely scratching the surface. Yeah, you give me someone's needs, tell me what they are, that's great, it helps me close the deal, but give me their needs, their values, their beliefs, their pain points, their hierarchy of pain. Then you got something. So with the straight line, we dig much deeper in this intelligence gathering / rapport building session. We go very deep, and in one of those things we talk about, it's pain, meaning what is that one worry that's resting at the base of that person's skull and basically keeping them up at night? What is the worry? What are they missing? What's the lack? What makes them feel out of control? In other words, on many levels, it's really sales is about someone going from a place of pain to pleasure, or being out of control to in control, feeling upset to feeling calm. You get it? Feeling overwhelmed to feeling clear. Every product out there pretty much is designed in some manner to do just that. Take someone from one feeling to another. That's why we always say sales with a straight line at the highest levels of transference of emotion. The key aspect here of pain is that, as I just said before, is that when we're really feeling pain about something, if we're feeling it for long enough, our brain will start telling us, you know what, it's not really that bad. Don't hurt that much because you got to go on with your life. And if you just, if you're going to be miserable over your pain, well, then, you're just going to live a life of misery. Maybe you should just accept your lot in life
failure
and not be so miserable and live a life of mediocrity. That's the trick of denial. That's denial of pain. So what we want to do in the straight line system is, if you're asking questions to your prospect and you sense they're really in denial, like they're talking about a problem that should be a big deal to them, but they're like, yeah, whatever, it just is what it is. Like they're living in a house, the roof is fucking leaking, and you're going to fix their roof, and they're like, you want to sell them a roofing job, right? You're like, no, it's not really, whatever, so we just mop it up. Seriously. That's it. Or life insurance. Someone needs life insurance. They have 3 kids, not enough life insurance. Okay, they're 45 years old, they're smoking 3 packs a day, they're fucking 20 pounds overweight, and they're like, it's not really, whatever, everyone dies. That's denial. That's being in denial. And we can find that denial so often in people who've been in pain or worrying for a while about something, they go into denial. So what we want to do here with straight line is we want to ask certain questions that raise them back up out of denial and make them insinuate back into their pain, like starting like, what's your greatest headache right now? Well, just tell me more about that. And what do you see happening? Ooh. Now watch. A lot of this comes down to nonverbal communication. So the tonality, the I care, I'm concerned for you tonality, the I feel your pain tonality, the facial expressions. They wake someone else up to their own pain. So don't just ask a question and say, got that one. No, if they're in denial, they're not making a big deal. Ask deeper questions. Use, let them see your visceral response. That will wake up their visceral response. This is what we talk about with matching and mirroring, pacing and leading. These are other things that we teach with the straight line system. The point is that don't just blow by their pain. If they're not acting in any way upset or distressed of what should be distressing them, slow it down, ask more questions, dig it out, amplify it. And here comes part 2. The big mistake salesman is they try to resolve it right here. Don't do that. In other words, this is intelligence gathering. This is not closing. Right? With the straight line, we have first things first. We have a syntax. We gather intelligence, build rapport. Then we transition into the main body. We give our initial presentation. Then we ask for the order. When we ask for the order, it's the result. We've earned that right.
I love Jordan Belfort,
resolving their pain as we make our presentation. Our presentation is designed to resolve their pain. And remember, we're framing, not front-loading, but we're still hitting on that pain. Now watch what happens. If someone's feeling really, really uncomfortable about something, they're really in pain, what does that do to their action threshold? In other words, watch. High action threshold means, so like my dad, tough buyer. I'm not buying anything until I'm damn sure it's the best, until I know I can trust you, the salesman, until I know I can trust the company that says I'm no way under the sun. I'm not buying anything. That's a high action threshold buyer. Me, I'm like, fuck, I think it's okay, I'll buy it. I'm easy, I buy anything. I like to buy shit, right? I have a house full of shit I never use. My dad, the opposite. World is made up of both types on varying degrees of the scale. So watch what happens though. And I probably told you this story if you watch my videos, is that, my dad loved all his possessions, very fastidious, but the one thing that mattered most to him was his car. Loved his Dodge Dart, loved the fucking car, right? No one could touch my father's car, but one guy, his name was Jimmy at the local Sunoco station. If fucking Mario Andretti's race team wanted to fix the car, and Enzo for runs up, no, sorry Enzo, Jimmy's my fucking guy. And that's very typical of a high action threshold person. They have one salesperson, or one provider, one service provider for everything. And here's what happens. Because my father went to Jimmy at some point when he probably was in massive pain, had to get something done. Because watch, I'll give you an example. As much as my dad loves his car, we were 11, 12 years old. We were taking a trip from New York down to Florida. We're about 200 miles from home in Maryland. 5 o'clock at night, sun's starting to get low in the sky, temperature's dropping, steam starts coming out of the engine. Radiator broke, right? What do you think my father did? With the sun setting, strange area, his family in the car, worried, sick. That's ultimate pain, fear of safety of your family. He went to the first gas station he could find and said, fix my car, I don't care what it costs. The guy could have been wearing a hat saying, name of the gas station, Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. He could have been wearing like the most offensive t-shirt with a swastika, and my dad probably still would have gotten his car fixed, because pain is the ultimate motivator. What happens when someone's in pain, it lowers the person's action threshold, which is why when we give out the pain.
He's saying that if you're in desperate need for something, you're more tolerant to say yes. That's especially for entrepreneurs. They're always finding a way to, expand and, get better, like myself, right? So they're always willing to try new things to evolve their creativity, their thoughts, and yeah, this is very spot on.
Pain, we don't want to resolve it yet. We keep the pain there, so when we give our presentation, as we're speaking, the person's listening and valuing our proposition for a perspective of intense pain. That's when they're most receptive. If you were to say, don't worry, I got the result here, no big deal. It's like, oh, really? Okay. And he calms down. So when you amplify pain here, you don't resolve pain, you make mental notes. Then you go into your presentation, and now you start resolving his pain. And don't directly address it right here. Wait till you ask for your, get your first objection. Then in your second loop, after you lower action threshold, if he still hasn't bought, then that big gun at the end is you then reintroduce the pain you extracted and start bringing that back in, raising up their pain threshold, and then telling them a story about how you want to prospect. Only say if it's true. But it should be true if you're selling for a while. You had a prospect in a similar situation, and they were in that same intense pain, and they ended up buying from you. Now they're in this great position, and future pace them on how your prospect is now feeling and how they'll feel the same way, and then lower your voice and calmly ask for the order. Say, believe me, the only problem you'll have is you didn't get this started 6 months ago because you'd already be feeling awesome. Sound good? And shut up. That's how you use pain. Don't forget.
That is an amazing video. If you enjoyed this video, just drop a like and subscribe.